Chapter 1, Mishnah 1. The Mishnah teaches that there are different levels of tahara for collections of water. There are 6 levels of Mikvaos, i.e. gatherings of water on the ground, each one higher than the other. Each level possesses all the tahara qualities of the preceding level, plus an additional quality. The Mishnah begins its discussion with the lowest of the 6 levels. The lowest level of mikvah is water gathered in puddles. A puddle of rainwater is not a mikvah in the usual sense, since it does not contain the minimum measure of 40 sa'ah. Therefore, it is not valid for purifying tamei utensils through immersion, nor is it able to purify tamei water through hashkacha. Its only merit as a mikveh is that its water is immune to becoming tamei. The Mishnah presents various laws that apply to rainwater gathered in puddles. If a tamei person bent down and drank directly from a puddle, and then a tahor person bent down and drank from the same puddle, the tahor person is tamei. This is because when the tamei person picked up his head after drinking, some drops of water surely dripped from his lips back into the puddle. Since those drops touched him, they become tamei. Those drops are now floating around in the puddle. We must be concerned that when the tahor person then drank from the puddle, he drank one of those tamei drops. That drop then made the rest of the water in his mouth tamei, and the law is that a person who drinks tamei water himself becomes tamei. The Mishnah gives a second example of tuma caused by a tamei drop, this time into a container. If a tamei person drank from the puddle and then someone drew water from it with a tahor container, the container is tamei. The Mishnah gives a third example of tuma caused by a tamei drop. This case involves a loaf of terumah. If a tamei person drank from the puddle and afterwards a loaf of terumah fell into the puddle, then it depends. If after the loaf fell in someone rinsed it off with the water now on its surface, thereby showing his intent to use the detached water for a specific purpose, i.e. rinsing the loaf is tamei, because we are concerned that perhaps drop that fell from the mouth of the tamei drinker is on the loaf, and that drop now contaminates the loaf. However, if he did not rinse the loaf after it fell into the puddle, but merely removed the loaf from the puddle and allowed it to dry, the loaf is tahor. This is because the tamei drop became nullified in the puddle, which, being connected to the ground, was not susceptible to tuma, and this state of nullification continues in the water that is now on the loaf. Since all the water surrounding the loaf is tahor, the loaf remains tahor.